I'm not sure how this is going to sound today. I'm actually on the road recording this. Actually, just leaving work. Yeah. That's all I got to say about that. I don't know how it's going to sound. Welcome to Earnestly Podcast. Quick one here today, because I wanted to react to the national championship game last night that LSU Tigers, well, both teams are Tigers, Clemson and LSU. LSU defeating the Clemson Tigers for the national championship. Very happy about the result, obviously. Big fan of Ed Orgeron. Obviously, I almost said Joe Burrow. What a performance last night. And just my couple takeaways from the game and just in general. Clemson, obviously, is an amazing team, and obviously this is the only, blemish for the year, only blemish the last 2 years, rather. Got a lot to be proud of. They're number one. But, LSU, call them the cardiac kids, call them this, whatever you want to call them. But, just the fact, we forget that they were down by 10 points in the second quarter, and it kind of felt like for the first hour, quarter and a half, that maybe this is Clemson's night. They were in control of the game. They couldn't stop Etienne, the running back from Clemson. He was getting holes. Lawrence, for the most part, played well in the first half before he kind of melted down later in the game. So the vibe was I was getting watching the game was that, this is going to be LSU's. This is the point. This is where they lose, and I was telling folks, I didn't really talk much about the national championship game prior to now. Obviously, I didn't really speak much on the podcast, but my vibe was that my heart was saying LSU wins the game, but my head was saying Clemson will find a way, because Clemson came into the whole playoff a bit undervalued because of how easy the schedule was, and then when they had tough games, they lost North Carolina early in the year, and they didn't play anybody of significance until the playoff. So I understand. I can understand the narrative, and certainly when they fell behind Ohio State in the first half of the first game, playoff game, obviously it blends to the narrative being, well, Clemson's a little overrated. But again, Clemson's national champions too. So how bad could they be? It kind of had the residue of Florida State from a couple of years ago when they, in the first BCS game, when they got into the playoff unbeaten at number 3 because they had an easy schedule, and then they got blown out by Oregon. But the point is that Clemson showed, they showed the spirit in the last game, and I thought, well, maybe Clemson's undervalued. Everybody expected LSU to win the game, and I get it. You watch the first quarter, and coming into the second quarter, you're thinking, oh, well, this might be Clemson's night. The champs rise again. The experience, they've been in this spot for the last 3-4 years. But LSU, man, Joe Burrow. I gotta tell you, when I keep mentioning that he reminds me of Tom Brady, and I remember I said that for the first time after the Alabama game back in November. The reason I said that has nothing to do with the skill set, although you can argue that they kind of remind me, the way they throw the ball kind of remind me of each other a little bit. But the reason I said that Joe Burrow reminds me of Tom Brady is because it's the calmness. It's like I feel like when you watch Joe Burrow in the field, the same with Tom Brady for years, that the game slows down in a way where it looks so easy for him to make plays. Now, the only thing that that Joe Burrow will have with Tom Brady will be like the mobility, but same with Tom Brady. Tom Brady can move a pocket too, for the record. He's not agile or fast, but he knows how to move a pocket to get an extra time to throw the ball. And Joe Burrow is kind of sort of like that, obviously a lot more mobile. But watching Joe Burrow last night again, even when there was a little bit of chaos, they could have melted in that first half, be down 10 against the defending national champions, and they didn't do that. Joe Burrow was calm, collected, made the throws he needed to make, made the whenever he needed to run, he got the pocket, he did so, and. It's one of those things where you look at him, it's like, well, could this translate to the NFL? It's possible. I'm trying not to be pushed at the moment here, but I've watched college football consistently for the last 31 years. I got into college football in 1989, 1990. And I don't think I've ever seen a season where a quarterback's been so dominant from start to finish. This is probably the greatest quarterback season I've ever seen from any player. It's the greatest team. When you consider the number, the wins they had this year, I mean, not just beating Clemson, but beating, you beat top, Oklahoma, you beat Alabama, you beat Georgia twice, you beat Auburn and all these tough teams on your schedule, and no blemish, and then you're dominant in the most important game of the year against Clemson. There's an argument to be made that this LSU team might be the single greatest college football team of all time. Now, certainly people who are Miami Hurricane fans can definitely holler and scream that maybe the 2001 team is better, or one of the 90s teams is better, or early 80s teams is better. But when you contextualize the fact that LSU beat, I believe I saw a thing. So one of my friends on Facebook posted this actually earlier. I actually retweeted it, and I forgot to mark it down for the show. But the amount of games they won against ranked teams this year, I think it was 7 to 8 top 10 teams, or teams that were in the top 10 at the time of the meeting, that LSU beat this year, and that's insane. So when you start putting into context about what they accomplished, and then what Joe Burrow did this year as starting quarterback, I'm hard-pressed not to say that this is the greatest college football team of all time based on the details. Certainly, Joe Burrow, this is the best quarterback you've ever seen. And I'm talking about Tim Tebow's peak, because Joe Burrow was just an absolute monster. Where he was mobile, where he was in the air, just controlling games, winning in Alabama, win the playoff, beating top teams, left and right this year. Certainly a case being made. And I have a hard time, as I think about it, and I go back to the years of quarterbacks that, had great seasons. I don't remember one as dominant as Joe Burrow. I really don't. I have a hard time. Joe Burrow was dominant from start to finish. There was never at any point in the year we were saying, okay, Joe Burrow might not be the Heisman Trophy winner. All year we were saying pretty much is Joe Burrow and who's number 2. And I'm hard pressed to think of finding a better team I've seen, or better quarterback here. I mean, we can debate for years in the days to come greatest college football team singular seasons. LSU's in the conversation. I'll tell you right now. Now, Joe Burrow is a junior. He is expected to declare for the NFL draft. And obviously the Bengals, the first pick in the draft, he's an Ohio guy. It's a good fit, obviously, based on the narratives. I'm fearful because the Bengals are not a good franchise, not because they're not good on the field, because they have a very shitty front office. They don't really, and to me, I've always said for years that they don't really give a shit about their franchise. They just collect the money and go. Mike Brown has never been a guy that has been a owner that is pretty well liked. He comes off somebody that doesn't really care about his franchise. But I feel like this is a crossroad time for the Bengals, because they've gotten away through the years of being a team that can be cheap as possible and not be a team that really cares about about the facilities and whatnot. Joe Burrow could be a generational quarterback. He might be a generational quarterback. We'll find out how he plays in the pros. And if Joe Burrow does not work out in Cincinnati, then this is going to be. This could be. I'm not going to say it'll be a death knell for the Bengals, but this will really hurt the Bengals. Their stock of who they are, because they've been a competitive team the last decade or so, prior to this year and a couple of seasons like that. But they've been competitive the last decade and a half actually. They've been a playoff team. They've been in the playoffs quite a few times in the last 15 years. And Joe Burrow could be a generational quarterback. And if he can make it work in Cincinnati because of the outside stuff involving ownership and whatnot, then what does that say about Cincinnati Bengals going forward? So I'm excited about him, what's the question of the draft. He has not done it yet, though. We expect to hear that in the coming days, obviously, and we'll see. I'm also very happy for Ed Orgeron, especially winning this. Ed Orgeron, I used to make fun of him last year. His voice, he sounded like Alex Jones, a more southern Alex Jones type. Infowars.com, of course, if you don't know who Alex Jones is. But Ed Orgeron is a very likable coach. I was rooting from day one, and I'm glad he proved that I was wrong. I'm really glad that he proved that I was wrong, and now he can enjoy this national championship in dominant fashion too. I'm really happy they were able to do this. So that's it. This is another pretty decent college football season. A season that I was, I thought for a little while was kind of dull until the end of the year. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next year. Because as Burrow declares, who's going to be his replacement? We'll see what happens. But until then, anyway, quick Earnestly podcast. We'll be back probably on Thursday with my guy Zach the Degenerate. He agreed to come on the show. We're going to talk about more about the college football playoff as well. We're also going to go over our over-unders from the NFL this year. We actually have a chance to do that this week, last month, because of the schedules and whatnot. So till then, we'll talk soon. Love you guys. Take care.